Hey, good morning. It's Friday, 6:05 a.m. here on Conservative Cat. Barack Obama, he was up early this morning, folks. He was up very, very early this morning. And earlier this week, Michelle and Obama, I guess, called their friend Kamala Harris. So I think it's kind of odd. We've got Barack Obama here, and he's tweeting this morning at about 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay. And this is what he says, quote, in his tweet, he says, "We told her we think she'll make a fantastic president of the United States." Okay. And then he says, she's got our full support. And then he goes, "At a critical moment for our country, we're going to do everything we can, steal the election." Oh, sorry. I just got a little cold. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. At this critical moment for our country, we're going to do everything we can to make sure she wins in November. We hope you'll join us. So I'm going to play cut one. This is Barack Obama's tweet from early this morning, like way earlier than when I got up. So here we go. Cut one.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi. You're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
And then she cackles. We're going to have some fun with this. We're going to have fun stealing the election. No. So I thought that was odd. He was posting his support for Kamala Harris like really late in the game. Everybody else has already come out and endorsed Kamala Harris, except Obama. And then there was speculation, even reports that had come out that Obama thought that Kamala Harris was a mistake and that he wasn't going to be throwing his support behind Kamala Harris. But then this tweet comes out this morning, and I just think it's odd he's posting it late/early. Maybe he's hoping nobody would see it. But it looks like Obama was finally able to get Kamala Harris to agree to be his puppet. You see, Kamala, when the yellow school bus comes to pick you up in the morning, the driver is going to take you to the White House and he's going to give you a big old gold sticker. That's all. That's all that you're going to get. And don't worry, I'll take care of the operations. I mean, I'd imagine that's how the conversation went with Obama and Kamala. It's really weird that he withheld his endorsement on a Friday morning at 3 a.m. It's almost like he doesn't want somebody to see it. Okay. I can't stand these manufactured phone calls either. Kamala Harris does these a lot. My girl Kamala, there was one where she had a phone call with a celebrity who was like, "Kamala, VP, I'm so worried about the election. Our democracy is at stake." And she's on this manufactured phone call. I don't know what's up with these. They're so fake, and like, it's just weird to have Obama come out and endorse you with all of these theatrics. Like, why the theatrics? Can't he just make a video or even just a simple tweet and just say, "Hey, I'm throwing my support behind Kamala Harris"? Why the theatrics? Oh yeah, I can take a guess why. It's because all of these people are weird theater geeks. And look, folks, I have nothing against people who do theater. I did theater in high school. It's not that. These people never had any friends, and they made theater their life. They're weirdos. They were in high school and never had any friends. They sat all together at the lunch table and they grew up and they decided, hey, you know what? We don't fit in the private sector, so we're going to go into the public sector and rob everybody of their money and get rich off the backs of Americans. So that's these types of people. So that was a desperate, weird, manufactured phone call to try to make Obama and Michelle seem like buddies with Kamala Harris, even though if you look at the timing, it suggests it's the opposite. Okay, he releases it at 3 a.m. on a Friday morning, and he waited this long to do it. So I do want to talk about another manufactured theatrics with Kamala Harris here. This is really funny. So this is also another desperate attempt to try to make her look black. Okay, culturally black, and to make her look like she's got this black background. And Kamala being black is just laughable. I've told you several times she is not African American. I want to play this cut. It's going to be cut 2, and this is Kamala Harris. I believe on this phone call. I think that this is cut 2. I gotta double check, but this should be Kamala Harris on a phone call, or coming out of a record shop. Okay, so she's coming out of a record shop. She goes in and she buys some records. Now, many Black American families already have these types of records, so they film her coming out of this record shop, and then she says, "Oh, I've got Louis Armstrong," and I don't know. I'm not into jazz, but from what I'm told, a lot of these Black American families already have these records. So I don't think that this is it, but we're going to play cut 2. And if it's not, we're just going to move on to this other part. So take a listen to this clip. Here we go. Okay. So I don't have that cut, but she comes out of this record store, explains what kind of record she's got, and this is a desperate attempt to try to make her look Black. But I want to be very clear. She is not, by her own father's admission, she is a descendant of Hamilton Brown. Hamilton Brown is one of the largest slave owners and traders in Bohemian history. Okay, so she's Bohemian on her father's side, and then her mother is East Indian. Okay. I love how Donald Trump, he came out and tweeted this. It's a great tweet where he does a side-by-side. So when she got into Congress, the media reported her as the first Indian American senator, California senator, right? So that was back in 2016, U.S. Senator. So here's the headline. California's Kamala Harris becomes the first Indian American U.S. Senator. Flash forward to 2020. Here's the headline. Biden picks Kamala Harris as running mate, first Black woman. She's not Black, folks. So there's a lot of desperate attempts to make her Black or make her Black, and she's not Black. A few things about Kamala Harris that I want to run through really quick before I shift gears here and we get into a story. A new ad is out from Donald Trump. It's a must watch. And it's called Meet San Francisco Liberal Kamala Harris. They're trying to paint her not only as just as an African American woman, but they're trying to paint her as moderate, which just isn't true. But here's some facts about Kamala Harris that I wanted to run through today, because there's just so much out there, and I don't want you to get complacent. I want us to know who Kamala Harris actually is. Okay, she wasn't raised in California. There's going to be a lie there. Lies are out there that say she was raised in California. That's not true. She was raised in Canada. Okay, her family has been in several interviews where they talk about how they lived in Canada. So she lived in Canada, was raised in Canada. She's not African American. Her mother was East Indian and her father is Bohemian. She started her political career by having an affair with a married man, and some would say she slept her way up to the ladder. She's had multiple affairs, and this is all fact checkable. Fact check me on it. She imprisoned over 2,000 Blacks for simple marijuana possession while being a California AG, the attorney general there, and the Supreme Court had to get her to release them. Okay, so she didn't even want to release them on her own. She was forced to release them by the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court. So, and as I said, by her father's own admission, she is a descendant of a slave trader, one of the largest in Bohemian history. So, another thing I want to not to be missed Okay, this is probably the biggest story out there about Kamala Harris and her time as a California Attorney General. So, the California Attorney General, she prosecuted undercover investigators. These two undercover investigators secretly taped Planned Parenthood, admitting to selling baby parts. Okay, this is probably the one of the most, I put it up there with rape and homicide and murder, killing people. This is disgusting. They took baby parts and they started selling them, which is a felony, by the way. And what did Kamala Harris do? She didn't prosecute the Planned Parenthood people admitting on tape that they were selling these baby parts. No, 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 no. Kamala Harris went after the undercover investigators who taped the actual criminals. So this woman is rabid. We're gonna try to get to this story here. I don't have a whole lot of time for it right now. On the other side, what I'm going to do is go through this new ad from Donald Trump. It's a must watch. It's so good. It's called Meet San Francisco Liberal Kamala Harris, and it's absolutely devastating. This ad, it highlights how radical this woman actually is. And I want to get to Joe Biden just being a lying rat. That's one thing. Everybody's coming out and they're saying they're touting his record. I've gone through and fact checked more COVID deaths. He claims to have created more jobs. 5 million of those new jobs, the 15 million, went to foreign-born workers. And then the other parts of them were jobs recovered after the COVID-19 pandemic. So people lost their jobs during the pandemic and then they came back. Those aren't new jobs. And then most of them went to foreign-born workers. And then the other part of them, all of the rest of the jobs that didn't go to foreign-born workers, are government jobs. Okay, these are not good jobs. They were 70,000 IRS agents. And as I was telling you the other day, look, you could make government less efficient and add more jobs. So, I gave the example of road work. We should know this in Illinois. We get it because it's a union state. The unions control everything here. And if you don't believe me, just go to illinoissunshine.org and look at every single politician's campaign contributions. And at the tippity top, you'll see union, $100,000, $50,000 to all of these Illinois state representatives and senators. But, we get it here in Illinois because what they do is for road work, right? Instead of using modern machinery, they use shovels. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised to find out if they use spoons here in Illinois to do the road work, because that means you need 25 times the workforce here in the state to do one job. Okay. And you can make government less efficient and just add a whole lot of people, but that doesn't do anything to spur the economy. So, recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, he didn't lead us into a recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. He didn't add more jobs. He didn't spur the economy. And he's a lying rat. Joe Biden is a lying rat. And I'm going to get to that, just how bad he lies. But I am also going to answer this question. Okay, Joe Biden lies. Does that make him a bad person? You can argue that lying doesn't make you a bad person. There are other reasons why Joe Biden is a bad person. So I'm going to cut to break. But when we come back, we've got so much to get through. The new Trump ad that's out there. I'll be right back. This is Conservative Cat. Good morning. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in to Conservative Cat. I do want to play this clip for you. This is Kamala Harris walking out of a record shop. Here we go.
What'd you get? So, okay, so do you know music? Okay, so first of all, Charlie Mingus, really one of the greatest jazz performers ever. One of my favorite albums of all time. Roy Ayers, Everybody Loves Sunshine. You know this one? So good. It's a classic. And then Porgy and Bess, right? And this is a beautiful one. It's Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. So there you go. What'd you get? So, okay, so do you know?
Okay, so there you have it, folks. There's Kamala Harris. She steps out of this record shop, and, this is obviously a desperate attempt to try to get her to look like she's black, even though we know she's not. She lists off a few records there, but it's like, wait a second. Most black families already have, and already have these records at home. So that's just proof that she is just doing this. It says a lot about why she's doing this. Having just purchased them now says a whole lot. So many Black American families already have these types of records, and they've had them for years. But she's going out now, and she's just purchasing these records. Louis Armstrong and a few other jazz staples, I guess, in the Black community. I don't know. I'm not into jazz, but yeah, I just found that absolutely hilarious. So when we come back, there's this woman, and it's a great cut, where she talks about how she's going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a black woman. And because she's a black woman, she's got to vote for Kamala Harris. And she gets a lesson. She is schooled by one of her fellow African-American friends on this tape. She has this wake-up lesson. And this is going to be the best 3 minutes that you hear. So we'll be right back. I also want to talk about a nonprofit here in Illinois. They're going to get $2 million more from the state. The Illinois State Board of Education and Governor J.B. Pritzker had recommended they get more money. It's called Teach for America. And this is what's wrong with the state of Illinois. We're giving money to these people and they do absolutely nothing. So we'll be right back. Woohoo! Hey, good morning. It's a Friday. What are you doing over the weekend? I want to know. What are your weekend plans? I'll read them over the air. 309-451-9299. You can also see me in studio on YouTube. That's Conservative Cat Show. Just type it in your search bar. We're going to get to a whole lot today. There was a hero, folks. Truly, he's an American hero, a lawyer who works near the Capitol. Did what any true patriot would do when seeing a bunch of unhinged leftists just burning up an American flag. This is a smoldering American flag. And then he reaches in and he grabs the flag that became engulfed with flames, and he just takes off running and he saves this flag. So a true hero. We're going to get to him. We're going to get to how Joe Biden is a lying rat. But I do want to play this cut first. This is going to be the best 3 minutes you hear all day. So this woman who says she's going to vote for Harris because she is a black woman, she gets a wake-up call. She gets a wake-up lesson. And this is going to be the best 3 minutes that you'll hear. This is cut to, here we go.
For? Let me ask you a question. Would you vote for?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm going to just be real honest with this. She's a black woman.
Yeah.
Because they stem folk, not Kim folk.
I
think it goes back to what somebody was saying, where it's not voting for someone, but majority will vote for somebody else just
hold on. Let me line this out.
I think majority.
Is it only because she a black woman?
Yeah.
Do you not see how that's a bad idea?
Elaborate.
Okay, so we're in 3 proxy wars with some of the most powerful leaders in the world. She failed at the border in which we have an estimation of 15 to 20 million people illegally into this country that is literally overtaking and bankrupting Chicago to the tune of over $400 million per year, and they are in a deficit. Oakland is going out of business. San Francisco, ditto. California, $65 billion deficit. New York, they're literally cutting trash, in which they are the rattiest, dirtiest city, and they've taken up resources as far as free healthcare, free hotels to the tune of $600 a day. They're literally taking over your schools. Your taxpayer dollars are going to fund the migrant crisis. She was supposed to be in charge of this. We have a failing economy. Every single day I see people getting on the internet talking about $30 an hour is the new minimum wage because inflation is fucking out of control. At one point, it was at almost 10%, depending on what city that you in. She has no policy, no record to stand on. One of the biggest things that she did in her career was lock up more black men than ever before, but we sitting here and vote her in office on identity politics. The very person that she was under as far as the president of the United States of America, she called him racist during a debate, which shows you how fake she is. And the only thing that we can stand on from a policy perspective is whether or not she's black and she's a woman. We did that during the Obama administration, and he didn't do anything for black people. As a matter of fact, y'all complain because the only person that he did, or the only group of people that he really stood for is the alphabet community, and that's his landmark thing that he's still standing on today. So the only thing that we have to stand on is identity politics. That shit didn't work with Tiffany Henyard in Dayton, Illinois. It didn't work with Karen Bass. It didn't work with Lori Lightfoot in Chicago. It didn't work with Brandon Johnson that then took over her position in Chicago. It didn't work with Andre Dickens in Atlanta. It didn't work with Eric Adams in New York. It doesn't work across the country. Every single Democratic city is a hellhole. And we sitting here talking about identity politics?
So there you have it. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's Anton Daniels. This was just a Zoom call with several African American voters. And this woman says that she's going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a black woman. And she got a wake-up lesson. Am I right? I got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about this new ad from the Donald Trump campaign. It's called Meet San Francisco Liberal Kamala Harris. Now, you don't become the San Francisco district attorney by being a moderate. Okay, you just don't. And the left knows that. And that's why the media is doing this PR campaign, PR damage control, and trying to alter history. I went through that yesterday, and they're trying to act like she wasn't deemed the most liberal senator in Congress. This woman is so far left, it's not even funny. They tried to paint Joe Biden as a centrist. I mean, that was probably more so. Joe Biden is probably more so a centrist than Kamala Harris. But they're trying to gas the American people into believing that she even is so much as inched left of center. They're trying to say that she is centrist, a moderate, and it's ridiculous. The campaign, the Donald Trump campaign, has the receipts though, and this ad just needs to just be on a loop. It's absolutely devastating for her campaign. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, but you're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Woohoo! Hey, good morning. This is Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. We are going to get to the Donald Trump campaign ad. And, this story, I was kind of hesitant to talk about it, but I think I am going to. I think I'm going to do it. I was hesitant. I was like, oh, should I do it today? Well, yeah, I think I'm going to because, the clip we heard in the last segment, we had Anton Daniels, and he was talking about how voting solely on identity politics is just stupid. He says, we've done it with Lori Lightfoot, Brandon Johnson, Eric Adams in New York, Barack Obama. He said all Barack Obama has done, the only group of people that he did anything for was the alphabet community. And he says it doesn't work. And then he mentioned Tiffany Henyard. And I wanted to bring you this story. It's one that kind of makes me a little nervous. And this is from a perspective of somebody who was reporting on this story out of Springfield. And it makes me uneasy. So bear with me. A state legislator, his name is Thaddeus Jones. And I asked him about the news of the Dalton Village officials being investigated for possible corruption, one being charged with fraud. And this state legislator, Thaddeus Jones, says, well, it's really up to the authorities to investigate these alleged crimes. So Thaddeus Jones, the reason why I asked this legislator is because he's the mayor of Calumet City. So this is all kind of up north, Dalton, Calumet City, Calumet City, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not too sure. It's up north, and it's actually really small city. It's not like this ginormous suburb or anything like that. Dalton is also pretty small as well. But Calumet City is about 10 minutes away from Dalton. Okay, so this is why I decided to ask Thaddeus Jones about it. About the Henyard scandal and about Freeman's charges. So Keith Douglas Freeman of Orland Park, he was charged with federal bankruptcy fraud. And he's a senior administrator for the village of Dalton. Okay. Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, who's Black, by the way, and he mentions this, Anton Daniels, he mentions, it got us nowhere with Tiffany Henyard, identity politics. She is accused of misconduct, corruption, sexual harassment, and retaliation against opponents by some in her village, Dalton. So when I asked Thaddeus Jones about Tiffany Henyard, he goes, I heard Tiffany Henyard was down here in Springfield. You can go ask her those questions. When I asked him to react to this scandal, to Freeman's charges, hey, your city, you're the mayor of this city that's only 10 minutes away from Dalton. What do you think about this? Is it wrong? What can we do to ensure there's transparency in government? Okay. And he says, well, Tiffany Henyard's down here. Why don't you go ask her? And I'm just going to say we should leave it to the authorities to investigate. So Henyard, like I said, she's accused of weaponizing the police against her critics, business raids in Dalton, having people go and raid people's businesses, people who speak out against her. Okay, she's also accused of spending taxpayer money on luxurious trips. This is a huge investigation. It's not only being investigated by the FBI, but there's an investigation being done by the trustees of Dalton, spearheaded by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Okay, so this isn't just Kat making things up. This is an actual investigation. Tried to find Henyard, put some requests for comments in with her office, and they didn't immediately respond, right? So Freeman, her top aide, the top aide of the Dalton mayor, was indicted on bankruptcy charges. And the federal indictment says that Freeman failed to report his income from the village of Dalton. And Freeman also allegedly hid his income during bankruptcy proceedings. So you can't do that. So he's charged, indicted. And Thaddeus Jones, who I asked about this is a guy representing Illinoisans. Okay, this is a guy who's supposed to be representing his constituency in Calumet City. he said he hadn't heard from his constituents, which I find hard to believe. I'm sure constituents are concerned about corruption, especially at this level, just 10 minutes away. So he said he hadn't heard anything from his constituents. Several residents, by the way, of Dalton, I've watched some of these meetings, these town board meetings. They've expressed their frustration with Henyard not stepping down amid these allegations. What's really concerning is I watched this one village board meeting. It was held on April 1st. And the residents, they were clapping for public commenters who spoke at this board meeting, against Henyard, and they started clapping. And then an officer was standing right next to these residents who were speaking at this board meeting and was like, you better stop it because of safety reasons. One, really weird that an officer was right there at the podium, breathing down the necks of the constituency there in Dalton. Also very weird that clapping for somebody after speaking at public comment is considered a safety hazard. So when asked if constituents have concerns about their officials following laws, Jones said he didn't know who Freeman was. And he said, I'm going to let's let the authorities investigate that. This is what Thaddeus Jones says. I don't know Keith Freeman. I've never met him. I don't want to meet him. Let's just say the authorities have to investigate this. So then I pressed him a little further, right? Asked him if Jones' constituents would contact him with concerns about officials following laws. And I asked him, hey, Thaddeus, you are currently under your own federal investigation regarding campaign finance. And I'm curious, would your constituents even consider contacting you, considering that you have these federal investigation regarding campaign finance? And then he got very upset, said he's in Springfield doing the work of the people. Okay. And he says, I'm down here doing the work of the people, and I'll leave that to the authorities to investigate as well, his federal investigation. So he has his own federal investigation. And Thaddeus Jones, who is Black, and this is my point, okay, you can elect these people based on identity politics or the fact that they've been there for a long time, but that doesn't mean they're doing the right things, okay? So he's being investigated. What was really concerning, and this is something that didn't make it into the story, and hard to tell, but when I was finished with my interview, I thanked him. And, I approached him and wanted to ask about some other things. And I, approached him and said, hey, can I ask you about this and this and this? And I have a few other questions, right? I didn't tell him that I was going to ask him about his federal investigation. And I really wasn't planning on asking him about his federal investigation. It's just that we got on the topic of Tiffany Henyard and Keith Freeman. And I was, asking about his constituency, and he said he hadn't heard from his constituents. And, I wasn't planning on asking him about it until he had said that. And then I was like, oh, well, maybe they're not contacting you because you're under federal investigation yourself. Maybe that's why they don't want to contact you with their concerns about their elected officials following laws. And I didn't expect to really ask him that question. I mean, I knew that he was under a federal investigation. But he contacts me shortly after the interview, and he was really nice, to my face, and I shook his hand, and we went about our merry ways. I get a call about 3-5 minutes later from an unknown number, and I was like, okay. I answer it. It's him. And he says, if you ever blindside me again, don't do that. Don't ever blindside me again. And I said, well, I'm a journalist. I go, I wasn't blindsiding you. I wasn't chasing you. I didn't follow you into the bathroom. I asked you for an interview. You agreed. You agreed to allow me to film you, okay, and record you. That is journalism. That's not blindsiding you. I could see if I was paparazzi and if I followed you into the bathroom and was recording you without your permission. You shook my hand, agreed to an interview, okay, and I said that I had a few questions to ask you. So that's not blindsiding you, one. Two, what do you mean? Don't you ever blindside me again, Representative? What do you mean by that? Because I'm not too sure what your intention is there. And then he abruptly hung up. I got another phone call from his attorney saying that if I want questions answered, that I need to contact his office or contact him if I wanted questions answered about his federal investigation regarding campaign finance. I was hesitant to bring that story to you. It's just something that really, I mean, it chills your bones a little bit, when you're approached in such a way that feels threatening in nature. He wasn't like threatening me. I asked him, hey, what if I, don't agree to not blindsiding you, even if I did blindside you, right? That's kind of free press. I mean, journalists do that all the time, right? Joe Biden, he gets out of the motorcade and out of his car. There's journalists right there shouting questions at him and recording him, right? Without his permission. I'm sure they didn't ask permission ahead of time to be there. And if they did, people do this all of the time. So I don't know. Very interesting. But my point is with that story, hey, identity politics, Tiffany Henyard didn't really work out for the folks in Dalton. So for this woman, obviously Anton Daniels, he points out to this woman who says that she's going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a black woman and she's a black woman. She gets this wake up lesson from this guy. And he says, look, identity politics hasn't worked before. Look at Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, Brandon Johnson, Eric Adams. These Democrat cities are hellholes. And identity politics, I mean, that's the reason why we're in this mess. All right, I got to take a quick break. But when we come back, I promised you I would get to that Trump campaign ad. It's really good. And then a little bit later, we're going to talk about a true patriot who swoops in, grabs a smoldering flag, and runs off with it amidst all of these Hamas terrorists, protesters, where they're burning an American flag right outside our Capitol. And he swoops in and he grabs it and he saves the flag. Pretty patriotic, if you ask me. I'm back next. Good morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Brian, great point. I didn't see this, but I did see that she did finally meet with Benjamin Netanyahu, and they talked about how Israel has the right to defend itself. Maybe that's something. So Kamala Harris probably, in order to keep her base, doesn't want to come out and support Israel. However, the military-industrial complex really likes the war, this proxy war going on in Israel, and the military-industrial complex demands, more. So Obama, we know, is likely all for those wars. He's probably all for the war in Ukraine because he stands to make a lot of money from the military-industrial complex. So Obama, he had to get Kamala Harris to agree to come out and say things like Israel has the right to defend itself. And I haven't seen that clip, Ryan. I'm sure it's a great clip. I'd have to look at it. I did see a picture of them together, Benjamin Netanyahu. So that tells me that she finally came out and acknowledged Israel and the conflict there and how the United States has to be an ally. Now, to just keep this war going on when we could stop it, that's disgusting. Just so that way people can make money. That's what Obama's trying to do, right? And that's why Biden's all for these wars in Ukraine. It's because people make a ton of money. Bell helicopter stock goes through the roof. These people sit on these boards and they make all this money. Honeywell, right? All of these different military industries. A lot of people stand to make a lot of money when we're in war. Okay. But yeah, she must have had to come out and say Israel has the right to defend itself in order for him to actually give her the endorsement. So very interesting. Kat, also look up Andrew Holmes. Andrew Holmes is a Dalton trustee who's been a strong advocate and used to show up at many press conferences when young people were shot. Also lost a daughter. Yeah. So there are a great many Dalton trustees who have taken to the mic, the public. I've never seen public comment so uncomfortable. Like if I had to explain how I feel when I watch what happens in Dalton, the word is uncomfortable. These people get up to the microphone, they share with their government officials how they're upset that a mayor of their town has been accused of such heinous crimes, really sexual harassment, fraud, stealing from the taxpayers to go on Las Vegas trips, right? And the accusations itself are of concern, and that's why they go up and they say, hey, we're upset by this. We want you to step down. We want you to step down as mayor while these investigations are going on. But like it gives me anxiety to watch these because there's like cops everywhere, and it feels very police state. Very like I get itchy because I feel like at any moment one of those cops at Henyard's request could like billy club somebody, or like club somebody down. I know that sounds terrible, but when I watched this cop yell at somebody for clapping and say, "Hey, that's a safety concern. You need to stop clapping for safety reasons." My eyebrows went up, and I was like, "Okay, that's weird." I'm back. Calumet City. I wanted to make sure I got that pronunciation right. Yes, I told you about Calumet City, where Thaddeus Jones wouldn't answer, hey, why is it your constituents don't really call you with concerns about their elected officials following laws? Is it perhaps because you're under federal investigation yourself there, Mr. Jones? Maybe. We've got some texts coming in. Brian, he texted in and he says, for Obama to endorse Kamala Harris, she had to say Israel has the right to defend itself. So yeah, the other day, we know that Benjamin Netanyahu, he gets off the plane. He's a world leader. Nobody was there to greet him from the Biden administration. He delivered an address in front of Congress, and Kamala Harris was not there to listen to his address. And a little bit later yesterday, she comes out and she's seen with Benjamin Netanyahu shaking his hand. And then she comes out and says that Israel has the right to defend itself. So early this morning, like 3 a.m. in the morning, there's a tweet from Barack Obama. Barack Obama was up tweeting before I was even up this morning, which is kind of odd, posting his support for Kamala like really late in the game. He's withheld this endorsement for quite some time, but also really early. Maybe he's hoping nobody sees it. But I think Obama was able to get Kamala to agree to be his puppet. Perhaps she didn't want to come out and say Israel has the right to defend itself because of these Hamas protesters. That's her base. She doesn't want to offend her base. And she didn't want to come out and say Israel has the right to defend itself because she is a radical and she holds radical ideals, and she thinks that Israel shouldn't exist as a Jewish state. That's Zionism. That's what Zionism is that you believe Israel should be a Jewish state and it should exist. That's all Zionism is, that the Jewish people should have a place, a land of milk and honey, right? That's all Zionism really is. I am a Christian Zionist. I believe that the Jewish people should be able to have the promised land that they were promised in the Bible. And the descendants of Abraham should be entitled to that land, that promised land. Okay, that's what Zionism truly is. So Kamala Harris is a radical, and she didn't want to come out and say that. However, Obama needs her to come out and say that because he needs to make money off the military-industrial complex. We're in a proxy war with Iran. Obama loves wars. We know that. He likes making money off of wars. So he needed Kamala Harris to come out and say, Israel has a right to defend itself. And she didn't want to do that, I don't think. So maybe that's why he withheld his endorsement for this long. She finally came out and said it. So he has endorsed her at 3 a.m. on a Friday morning. And it was this weird video of Obama and Michelle calling Kamala Harris to support her. And it was this like fictitious call, definitely orchestrated call, and it was very theatrical because that's how these people work. It's always a show. It's never like authentic. These people are so fake. I do want to get to this ad. I've been saying I'm going to get to this ad, but I'm not going to have time to play it right now. But it's called Meet San Francisco Liberal Kamala Harris. We know that they're trying to rewrite history. They're trying to erase history, alter history. I told you about Axios saying she was never actually the border czar. She was never appointed by Joe Biden to address the border situation. She just was going to get to the root causes of the border. Okay. But then you look back at Axios reporting from just a few short years ago, they quite literally call Kamala Harris, comma, appointed by Joe Biden to be the border czar, comma, right? Like, so, just a few short years ago, they called her the border czar, but now they're trying to rewrite history. So we're going to get to this ad. Also, I do want to talk about Teach for America. They're getting taxpayer money, $2 million more dollars of your money. It's a nonprofit organization, and the Illinois State Board of Education and Governor J.B. Pritzker wants to give them more money despite low reading and math proficiencies in the state. I'm back next, Conservative Cat. Hey, good morning. I'm going to share this article with you. I think it's a very important article. Now, I wrote this a while back, but it's important. This is a nonprofit setting to get, now they do actually have this $2 million. I looked through the budget, and I believe that they're getting this $2 million. If anything, it was definitely set. And there were talks about this, and Governor J.B. Pritzker advocated for Teach for America to get this money. A state lawmaker says that this is a waste of taxpayer money. Nonprofit teacher development group. They want more money amid all of these low reading and math proficiencies. Okay, so, oh gosh. According to the chairman's math of this House committee, Will Davis, his math, okay, they get about $9 million to $10 million overall to operate their program here in Illinois. So they have a $9 to $10 million program. Teach for America, they do several things. Mainly, they try to find minority teachers and try to get them to get jobs here in the state. Okay, that's mainly their focus. Is Teach for America is placing minority teachers in school districts, and they work on recruiting a lot of the time for minority teachers. So State Representative Blaine Wilhauer, Republican, said TFA funding, like a lot of educational funding, doesn't actually go to the classroom. Right, I just told you. I mean, they're not shy about that. We could go to Teach for America's website right now. Let me actually do that for you. And we could look at their mission statement. And really, I mean, they say that this helps kids, but a lot of what they do is just recruiting, teachers, minority teachers. Okay, so let's go to their About Us. I'm going to share this tab first, or share this with you. I'm going to try to look for. I need to find like their mission statement. Oh, here we go. Okay. Today, our network of 34,000 teachers, or 3,400 teachers. That's not even like a huge organization. Okay, school leaders and advocates impact 1/3 of the population of students in public schools in Chicago. So here it is. Since 2000, TFA has played an instrumental role in Chicago's story of progress by finding and supporting diverse and equity-oriented leaders working at all levels of the education system. Okay, so they say they support students, but really their main mission here is to find and support a certain group of leaders working at all levels in education. So really, that's what this is all about. It's about the teachers. It's about finding minority teachers and getting them into the school districts, which they're not even all that great at. Okay, so they have this mission statement of finding minority teachers, but they're not really good at it because they're not really filling those positions with minority teachers. Because the numbers show us that there's not a whole lot of that, like they haven't improved that area within the entire education ecosystem. So Blaine Willhauer, he says, it goes to prop up this money, goes to prop up an entire ecosystem that has been built under the education funding that we have. We are spending more money on education now than we ever have by a large margin. 7 out of 10 kids can't read. The same with math. It's less for math. It's actually worse even in minority communities that these programs like TFA are supposed to be focused on. So they're focused on minority communities. They're focused on getting minority teachers into the education system. The Illinois State Board of Education and Governor J.B. Pritzker, they recommended $2 million more be given to this organization. It's called TFA Illinois, Teach for America Illinois. And this is what's wrong. This is what's wrong with the state, where you're giving all of this money to nonprofits. And it's not just me, because people, Democrats, were even questioning, okay, but why should we give you this money? Where's your receipts to prove that you're actually doing the work that you're doing? Okay, and they can't produce it. So the executive director said their goal is to develop high-impact teachers to serve in Illinois communities with the most need. So high-impact teachers, these are teachers who are equity-oriented, right? Teachers or minority teachers to serve in these Illinois communities, minority Illinois communities. But you look at these minority communities, Peoria, Harvey, Round Lake, these are, Urbana. There's a large Black population in a lot of these areas. They said over 1,000 of our alumni are in school-based roles across the state, like Harvey, Peoria, Round Lake. Our alumni initiatives underscore our commitment to fostering a robust educational ecosystem. When our alumni become transformational leaders, that impacts the entire school ecosystem. Well, maybe not for the good, because I pulled some of these numbers here, and the numbers don't lie. I don't think that this is a robust ecosystem, some of these numbers here, and we'll get to them. Don't worry. But I'm back. Subscribe today and like the show. Hey, good morning. Hey, it's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. You can also find me on YouTube. That's The Conservative Cat Show. Just type it in your search bar, Conservative Cat Show. You'll be able to find me and subscribe. Before we took the break, I was telling you a little bit about Kamala Harris. Yes, Kamala Harris. She is the most liberal and was the most liberal U.S. Senator. And she was deemed that by GovTrack, which is supposed to be a nonpartisan organization, but they came out a couple days ago and they tried to rewrite history, erase history really, and say that, oh, no, we didn't say that about Kamala Harris back in 2020, or I think it was, 2020, when they said she was the most liberal U.S. senator. And the way they came to that, okay, was numbers, research. They looked at her voting record, and they looked at the number of votes that she casted on bipartisan legislation, okay, or things that she co-sponsored with bipartisan support, okay. So she was the worst, or like when it came to supporting bipartisan legislation and co-sponsoring bipartisan legislation reaching across the aisle. She never, like, not to say never, but she had the lowest numbers of all the US senators in co-sponsoring bipartisan legislation. That's all fact checkable. That's all numbers. So this all came down to numbers, the facts, right? Saying that she is the most liberal senator is quantifiable because you can look at her voting record and you can look at the legislation she sponsors. Okay, so you don't become the San Francisco district attorney by being a moderate, and the left knows that, and that's why the media is on a full-blown PR damage control. They're trying to alter history and act like she wasn't the most liberal senator in Congress. Okay, this woman is more progressive than Joe Biden, and just like the media acted like he was a centrist, they're going to try to act like Kamala Harris is a centrist. She is not a centrist. So this is a must-watch new ad from the Donald Trump campaign. This is going to be cut 3. But before I play here, I want you to just listen to this because these are just receipts. This ad isn't, there is really little to no opinion in this ad. This is just her voice, okay? And don't let them gaslight you into believing that she hasn't even so much as inched left of center, okay? They're going to try to say that she is center moderate, and her own words prove that she's not. Let's take a listen. Cut 3.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator. Well, actually, the nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
We are going to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross borders criminals. That's correct. That is correct.
A lot of the signs at the rally you just held were people standing there saying, abolish ICE.
Yeah.
Is that a position that you agree with?
We need to probably think about starting from scratch.
So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all to people who are in this country illegally?
I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being public health, period.
Are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police? It's actually wrong and backward to think that more police officers will create more safety. We need to get rid of money bail.
Convicted, in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation. I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. I have always supported Medicare for all. I was very happy to sign on to Bernie's bill, and I give Bernie, frankly, a lot of credit. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should.
All right, well, there you have it. I mean, that's all her words, and the media wants to act like she's never said those words, any of it. This woman is a woman who thinks breaking federal immigration laws is not a crime, and that foreign nationals should get health care, and that health care should be paid by American tax dollars before citizens get it. Okay, this woman believes that she wants to abolish ICE, and there's no surprise. We have been suffering the worst border crisis in American history under her watch. Okay, it's because she believes we should abolish ICE. She did not become vice president because she earned it. She only is there because she is a DEI pick and it's identity politics, and she is a foolish DEI pick that agrees to bow down to the powers that be, whether that be Obama, Clinton, the establishment, whoever it is. She agrees to bow down, and that is why she is the vice president. She's a DEI pick who has no backbone. She's nothing more than a power-grabbing tyrant who is as radical as they get. Okay, Harris thinks labeling herself as the former San Francisco DA is helpful, as she vows to politically prosecute Donald Trump. According to the New York Post, Kamala Harris launched her first campaign ad. So let's go through Kamala Harris's campaign ad. Now, we went through Donald Trump's. Let's go through her. She starts out by ripping her GOP rival, Donald Trump, for his criminal convictions and painting herself as a candidate who wants a country where no one is above the law. Okay, I'm explaining her ad, except for illegal aliens, of course. Of course, the illegal aliens are above the law, right? They get to beat cops in the streets and get away with it, and then they're released on no cash bail. Okay, the ad leans into Harris's background as a prosecutor, and then contrasting her anti-chaos vision with the GOP ticket of Trump and JD Vance, though they themselves are running a campaign on law and order, but she says that there's going to be chaos under the GOP ticket. And what she does, the campaign, it uses the campaign ad uses Donald Trump's public mugshot from his indictment in a federal case in Georgia related to his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election, which is not true. It's that whole RICO Act crap. That's what's going on in Georgia, and I've explained that several times on the show. That's a different aside. Maybe one day I'll explain it again for you, but that's a different topic. So the ad here, Kamala Harris's ad, it uses that mugshot in the federal case in Georgia related to his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Don't these people get it? Politically prosecuting your opponents is it's not popular with the American people. And promising to keep doing it, I don't think that that's a winning strategy. People are already saying, hey, you're politically prosecuting your political opposition, and that gives me dictator vibes, lady. Joe Biden, it's kind of tyrannical to throw your political opposition in jail. So here's a quote from the ad, Kamala Harris's ad. The freedom, not just to get by, but to get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to make decisions about your own body. Is she not going to mention that places with the highest gun violence and gun crimes committed have the strictest gun control laws? Take a look at Chicago. I'd imagine that they have the worst gun crime in the nation. I'd have to look that up again. I'm pretty sure that they've got the worst. Is she going to mention that most thugs who are guilty of these gun violence, these thugs, they actually do it with illegal guns? Is she going to mention that? How would stripping law-abiding citizens and law-abiding Americans of their rights stop criminals in the streets using illegal guns to gun down, innocent people? How exactly is that stripping Americans away from their Second Amendment right? Won't that just embolden them more? Because the good guys with the guns are unarmed, and then the criminals are like, oh, well, we're the only ones with the illegal guns, so we can go after the people without the guns. The ad goes on. She says, we choose a future where no child lives in poverty, where we all can afford health care, where no one is above the law. And then the campaign uses another mugshot where Trump was indicted in Georgia on the charges of election racketeering. How many times are Democrats going to do this whole thing where they pretend to solve poverty? Because the more they try to end it, the poorer people get. And I explained to you a tax credit that J.B. Pritzker had touted here in Illinois, which really was the equivalent to, it was like $300 a year, and that was on the high end. You had to have 3 children in order to get $300 at the end of the year given back to you in the form of credit. Okay, so this isn't free money. This is just money that was taken from you and it's given back to you. Okay, and it's $300 maximum. Okay, you get $300 if you have 3 children, and if you are within an income bracket that's not the middle class. These aren't working families. This is you can't make over $65,000 or jointly. Okay, so you and your husband or you and your wife together, your joint income cannot exceed $65,000 in order to get this $300 a year maximum. Okay, maybe it's $120 if you only have 1 kid. Maybe it's $175 if you only have 2 kids. So $100 a year, $120 a year Okay, that's like equivalent to 20 cents a day. And JB Pritzker comes out and he says, oh, I'm ending childhood poverty with this tax credit. Baloney! Stop it! 20 cents a day? I mean, come on. with a tax credit like that, the kids can maybe pool their money together and get a black Starbucks coffee. Not even a large one, a medium one, okay, at the end of the month, where they can get a black Starbucks coffee. Man, it reminds me of me when I was a kid. I'd wait for dad to sleep on the couch. I'd wait for him to sleep on the couch because he always had change in his pockets, and the change would, leave his pockets and shimmy their way. The coins would shimmy their way into the couch, and I'd like rip through the cushions, gather all the money, and then I'd go to the school store and buy the little erasers for the end of my pencils. Right? So, I mean, like, that's the equivalent. Like, if the kids just, dug into the couch and looked for dad's coins, I mean, that's the equivalent of this tax credit almost. So, yeah, I hate when Democrats say they're ending childhood poverty. That's not true. And in fact, people just seem to be getting poorer. How many times are Democrats going to pretend that they solve poverty? No matter how much Axios edits past articles or how much GovTrack tries to delete what they said, the internet never forgets. It's forever. And yeah, I don't care what people say. She is one of the most, and if not the most, liberal politician in the world, in this nation. Maybe Bernie Sanders has her beat. Maybe. All right. I do have to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go through Joe Biden's political career because he lies about everything. He pretends to have come from a family of coal miners. He grew up in the Black community, both of which are untrue and fact checkable. But he just lies and lies and lies. He lies when he doesn't need to lie, which is so bizarre. But we're going to go through his lies because I'm sick and tired of hearing people saying that Joe Biden has the best record of anybody. And we're so proud that he sacrificed his career to save democracy. Right? And I'm just kind of getting sick and tired of people touting Joe Biden's career and record as something to be applauded. It's not good. He's just lied the entire time he's been in office. All right, I'll be right back. This is Conservative Cat. Good morning. Hey, so much to talk about. Let's read through some of your comments. I will make of the great nation Israel a nation of priests, and they would grab the skirt of he who is a Jew, would be led into salvation. So yeah, there's I was explaining, Christian Zionist. I'm a Christian Zionist, full disclosure. And there is a belief, Zionism, that the Jewish people were promised the land, Israel, which used to be much bigger than it is now, through decades and centuries, really, of land deals and land secessions. They have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, and the Jewish population has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller through things like the Holocaust and mass genocide, and the Arab nations going in like they did on the October 7th attack, and just gunning everybody down, parachuting in, raping women, right? So progressively, the Jewish population has dwindled, and the state of Israel, the actual land mass, has dwindled down because they have been in so many wars and had to make so many land secessions where they're just like, okay, take it. Take the Gaza Strip in 2005. Take it all. But Zionism is just the sole belief that we believe that Israel is a Jewish state and the Jewish people are promised that land, and that land is sacred to them. Okay, that's all Zionism is. So like when, oh gosh, I talked about the Adala Justice Project and how that's funded by Susan Pritzker, Solidaire Network. She serves as the board treasurer, and on the Solidaire Network website, through their Solidaire Network Power and Unity Fund, they fund these people who are on college campuses, quite literally getting arrested, setting the American flag on fire, right? I've talked about this yesterday. You can find the show, but right. So there were these 4 to 7-year-olds in this video. I'll have to try to find the video. It's absolutely incredible. They're babies and they're screaming, "Hey, hey, ho, ho, Zionism has got to go." And they're babies. They're like 4 years old. That's like up to my hip. They're just children and they're screaming this and they're holding a banner that says Zionism has got to go, or I don't know, a pro-Palestinian like banner. And it's featured on the Adala Justice Project Instagram. Okay. And on the website of the Solidara Network, this foundation that provides all this money to them, they say that they're a movement partner. So I got to take a quick break. But when I come back, we're going to walk through Joe Biden's lies. You're listening to Conservative Cat. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Woohoo! Hey, good morning. I so do appreciate you tuning in. You can always be a part of the show by visiting the YouTube channel. That's Conservative Cat Show on YouTube. You can always text in 309-451-9299. That's our text line here at Cities 92.9. You can always get in touch with me. Before I took the break, I was telling you a little bit about Joe Biden and how he's lied about everything. And I'm kind of getting sick and tired of hearing people say that he had this beautiful record and that it was just, he's just the best president that we've ever had. Joe Biden, he likes to pretend that he came from coal miners, that he grew up in the Black community, both of which are untrue, especially considering he's the whitest man to have walked the earth. Okay. He also claimed that he was Puerto Rican at one point. He said that he's been in synagogue more than most Orthodox Jews. Oh, and he's also Greek. Okay, so to sum it all up, Joe Biden is Black, Puerto Rican, Greek, and Jew. And he came from a family of coal miners and grew up in a Black community. Also, it's unclear what, quote, a keen student of Persian culture is, but he's also that. He says he's a keen student of Persian culture. I don't know what that is. The guy lies when he doesn't need to lie. Moving on from his fictitious resume, he claimed, moving on to his fictitious resume. Okay, so he says that he's all of these things. And really what it's all about, he wants to pander to these people, and it's kind of racist. Okay, to try to claim that you're Black in order to get the Black vote. Joe, you're white. Like, Joe, you're not Puerto Rican. Joe, you're not an Orthodox Jew. Stop trying to get these people's vote and lying to them, saying that you're all of these things when you're just not. You didn't grow up in the Black community. Okay, I want to get to his fictitious resume. He claimed on several occasions that he turned down an appointment to the Naval Academy. And he said that he had intended to play football for the Naval Academy. But of course, none of that's true. He also said that he went to a historically black college. Yep, Delaware State. That's what he said. However, the university could not confirm this because, quote, he did not attend Delaware State, according to the school's vice president. Okay. Biden also has a long history of plagiarism. He even dropped out of the 1988 presidential race because he plagiarized speeches from a British politician, Neil Kinnock, and then Robert Kennedy. He plagiarized his speech, President John F. Kennedy. And this is all according to the American Presidency Project. Okay, so they knew, everybody knows that he plagiarized his speeches. It was so bad, he had to drop out of the 1988 presidential race. Okay, so there has been no politician in modern United States history that is more racist than Joe Biden, because we all know if you don't vote a certain type of way, then you lose your black card. Okay, that's what Joe Biden said. He said, you ain't black if you're not voting for me. What? that Joe, that's kind of racist. You can't say that. But hey, Kat, he's a nice person. Okay, at the end of the day, he might lie. He might say he's Puerto Rican. He might say he's Greek. He might say he's from a family of coal miners. Come on, Kat. At least he's a good person. Okay, sure. Maybe lying doesn't make you a bad person, but here's what makes Joe Biden a bad person. One of many reasons. He doesn't acknowledge the existence of his granddaughter, Navy Joan Roberts. Okay, he literally denies the existence of his own granddaughter, his own flesh and blood. So he's a lying rat. He's a terrible father. Look at Hunter Biden. He's a terrible grandfather. Won't even admit that he has a granddaughter, Navy. And he's also an abusive pet owner. Okay. And there's been, and I've covered this at length, his German Shepherd, which I love German Shepherds, by the way, the best dogs on the planet. His German Shepherd commander attacked Secret Service agents. The dog attacked the Secret Service agents so much to a point where they said to each other, Secret Service agents would say to each other, hey, have a safe shift tonight. The number of incidents in which this dog attacked these agents was just insane. I mean, it just led to one professional Secret Service agent saying, hey, we need to start using a muzzle. Now, this is all according to agency records. The number of dog attacks involving Commander, their German Shepherd, at the White House was just an insane amount. I don't have the exact number, but he was terrorizing professionals that were assigned to protect Biden for over 2 years, this dog. Okay. They had to rehome their former first dog, Major, in 2021 because he was also attacking personnel. And then their other German Shepherd attacked personnel. And I'm looking at these numbers. Major attacked up to 36 people. That's a ton of people. 36 people. Oh, nearly 40 people this dog attacked. And then they finally rehomed Major, but then Commander started attacking people. So it tells me Joe Biden is a bad person. Okay, he is a bad person. Dogs, like kids, they need discipline. Hunter is the way he is. He's a coke kid. He's a coke addict because his dad, Joe Biden, is a simp. He's a simpy man, and Commander and Major are the way they are, his dogs, because Joe Biden is a femboy with very little testosterone. Okay, so he's not a good person. And to tout him as some sort of, and as I said before, more COVID deaths under his administration than Donald Trump. He came into office with COVID actually tailing and trending down, COVID deaths trending down. If you believe the numbers, that's a different conversation. But the deaths were coming down right at the tail end of Donald Trump's presidency. There was a vaccine. Joe Biden came in with that vaccine that was supposed to help everybody, right? But there were far more deaths under Joe Biden than Donald Trump. Okay. And that was prior to having a vaccine. So yeah. Also not to mention, he claims that he had made all these jobs. Most of those jobs went to foreign-born workers and government workers, IRS agents. And a lot of those jobs that he claims he brought are actually COVID bounce back jobs. So he didn't really create any new jobs. I want to shift gears. I want to talk about this lawyer. I'm going to take a break though. This lawyer, he worked near the Capitol as, these Hamas protesters. They were burning up this flag, and this guy is truly a patriot. He saw a bunch of unhinged leftists burning this American flag. He swoops in, grabs it, and then he takes off and runs. Everyone knows pro-Hamas agitators don't do much of anything beneficial, and they thrive off of chaos. That's why they exist. And they were at the nation's capital the other day, and they're really, it's sad because these people, if they were to do something like this and cause this kind of chaos in Palestine, the country that they're in support of, they would be dead within minutes. This country that they are in support of definitely would not allow them to bang drums and burn the Palestinian flag in their country. So I'll be right back. We've got that story. This is Conservative Cat, Cities 92.9. I'll be right back. Wowza. Man, the show is just... We are moving along right here on Conservative Cat Cities 92.9. We've got so much to get to. I'm going to try to get to this story about a nonprofit getting another $2 million from the state. Of course, Illinois State Board of Education and Governor J.B. Pritzker, they wanted $2 million to be given to TFA Illinois again this fiscal year. We know that Governor J.B. Pritzker signed a ginormous budget, $53 billion. That's insane. And like $2 million, or what was it? I think it was $2 million or so went to illegal immigrants, really. Those are estimations. Some people say 3 million. I mean, they're all getting health care, shelter on the backs of taxpayers. So there you go. But this nonprofit organization, Teach for America, I want to talk about that here coming up in just a little bit. But before I took the break, I was telling you how this lawyer who works near the U.S. Capitol did a very truly patriotic thing when he saw a bunch of unhinged leftists burning the American flag. He grabbed the flag that was engulfed in flames and he began to run. As everyone knows, these pro-Hamas agitators, they don't do much of anything beneficial. And really what they're there for is to thrive off the chaos. They love chaos, and that's what they were doing at our nation's capital. They were just thriving off chaos, and they were bowing down to a terrorist organization that is actually just using them as useful idiots. Because if any of these people were in actual Palestine, or what's considered Palestine isn't even really a country, it's territory. But they, if they were there, they'd be dead within minutes. If they were there acting like this, they'd be dead within seconds. A man saves a smoldering American flag from the center of a protest, and he was nearly tackled amidst shouts of, "Get him! Get him! Get him!" Now, there's a reason these pathetic losers travel in groups, right? They're nothing more than cowards, and that's why they chased a man who saved an American flag, smoldering American flag, because that's their deranged, innate response. They just want to go and tackle this guy and probably hurt him, maybe even kill him. We've seen that before. I've talked about a Trump supporter who died in Portland, where they shouted, these deranged BLM protesters, they shouted things like, get him, and then he wound up dead. So according to Fox News, an unarmed patriot reached into a smoldering heap to rescue an American flag from burning at the hands of these pro-Hamas agitators. The man, who wanted to remain anonymous, was able to successfully save a fragment of the flag. He told a local journalist who recorded the incident on video that he was an attorney who worked near Union Station in Washington, D.C., where the anti-Israel demonstrations were going on. The video was taken by Richie McGinnis. He's the journalist here, and he shared this video on X. The man stoops down into the flames, takes up a fragment of the burning flag with his bare hands, and he runs out of the angry mob. The angry mob rushes after the unarmed man, carrying this flag, and they shout, get him, and they start just banging on their drums, right? So not only is this mob mentally unhinged, but they act like animals in some sort of ritualistic ceremony where they start banging on drums. I've never really seen this before outside of ritualistic ceremonies. In this chase, a pro-Hamas agitator can be seen tripping over a skateboard. The anonymous patriot barely escapes through the crowd. So this guy in this video, he's a Hamas agitator, and he trips over a skateboard, and he doesn't make it to this patriot who barely escaped the crowd. In a later video post, McGinnis, the journalist who caught this all on tape, shares that the unnamed man said, quote, "I grabbed what I could out of the fire and I ran. Quote, I'm ashamed I didn't stop and go back for the rest of it." The man already did more than most, and there's no reason why he should feel ashamed. Okay, folks, because he's brave enough to stand up to these anti-American losers who would not last one day in Gaza, not even seconds in Gaza, especially considering a lot of what they do is illegal. You know, the Gays for Gaza, what was it? Benjamin Netanyahu said it best. He goes, Gays for Gaza, that sign. It's like saying chickens for KFC. It's illegal in Gaza to be gay. So these people are just very pathetic. They hate a country that defends their degeneracy, and they defend a country that wouldn't think twice about about criminalizing their behavior and beheading them for their behavior. Okay, if you were to burn a Palestinian flag in Gaza, are you kidding me? You would be dead within seconds. They'd throw you off a rooftop. So the lawyer, he risked his safety. He risked really his life to save the biggest symbol of freedom this world has, while anti-American agitators chose to destroy it. As they're the ones, these agitators, they're the ones dividing this country. And they attempt to, I don't know what the point really was in burning the American flag. Are they attempting to say, screw you to the people who defend the republic for which it stands? I mean, that's really what the flag is all about. These protesters, they want to burn this flag that they promised their allegiance was not to the United States. Them burning this flag indicates that they have no allegiance to the United States. And if you have no allegiance to the United States, then why don't you just leave? Why don't you go to Gaza and try to make it there? Right? I'd love to see him go. I'd love to see him go. All right. I do want to talk about this nonprofit organization getting this $2 million, and then I'm going to cut to break. But you can always see me on YouTube, Conservative Cat Show. Just type it in your search bar, subscribe. You can text today, 309-451-9299. Did you guys see Obama endorsed early this morning? Like, he got up way before I did, and he started tweeting this morning, and he endorsed Kamala Harris. Quote, he says, "We told her we think she'll make a fantastic president of the United States. She has our full support at this critical moment for our country. We're going to do everything we can to make sure she wins in November." Does that include stealing the election with mail-in ballots there, Brock? But he goes, "I hope you'll join us in doing everything you can to ensure Kamala Harris becomes the next president." So he posts his support for Kamala very late in the game. Okay, he withheld this endorsement for quite some time. I've got some theories on that. You've got some theories on that. Why did he withhold his support from Kamala Harris? Did she have to agree on something in order to receive his endorsement? But it's almost like he didn't want anybody to see this. 3 a.m. in the morning, a tweet like this. It's very odd. Maybe Obama, he finally got Kamala Harris to agree to be his puppet. I think that it's this whole defending Israel, or defending Israel's right to defend itself. Maybe Kamala Harris didn't want to alienate her base or offend her base, who are these Hamas agitators that I was just speaking of, and she wouldn't come out and express her support for Israel, and Obama needed her to do that in order to give her an endorsement. So I want to talk about this. Actually, I'm going to cut to break. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about this nonprofit organization getting $2 million more. So they got $2 million last fiscal year. And where are the receipts? I want to know what you did with that $2 million there, Teach for America. I want to know what you did. Governor J.B. Pritzker, he recommended $2 million be given to TFA Illinois again this year as part of his budget. And I'm going to talk about Teach for America. I'm going to ask the question, where is this money going? Show me that you are putting this money to good use. You can't. All right. I'm going to be right back. This is Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Hey, good morning. I so do appreciate you guys tuning in. Good morning, Kat. I hope your day is faring well. It sure is. We are going to be right back talking about Teach for America. So this is out of Illinois. The show here is based out of Illinois. A state lawmaker says that using taxpayer funds for Teach for America Illinois is a waste. The nonprofit teacher development group is seeking more money amid low reading and math proficiencies across the state. So what I find very interesting is that, they're not even like being quiet about what their mission is. This Teach for America nonprofit, they say that the nonprofit is designed to really, I'll show you this one. So this is their website. TFA has played an instrumental role in Chicago's story of progress by finding and supporting diverse and equity-oriented leaders working at all levels of the education system. So really their goal is recruiting minority teachers. They say that's their goal. The chairman or the executive director of the Greater Chicago and Northwest Indiana said their goal is to develop high-impact teachers to serve in Illinois communities that are most in need. So what is high-impact teacher? That's code for minority teachers to serve in communities with the most need. These are minority communities. You look at places like Harvey, Peoria, Round Lake, Urbana. Quote, this is from the executive director, Anja Roberts of TFA, Illinois, or of this Greater Chicago and Northwest Indiana. She is the executive director for this branch of the national organization TFA. She says over 1,000 of our alumni are in school-based roles across state, like Harvey, Peoria, Round Lake, and Urbana. Our alumni initiatives underscore our commitment to fostering a robust educational system. Our alumni become transformational leaders that impact the entire school ecosystem. Well, that's funny. Peoria, kids, only 15% of kids can read at grade level. Harvey, only 12%, and Round Lake, 11.8%. Urbana, 12.8% of students can read at grade level. Statewide, the organization serves 1,000 alumni and 123 first and second year teachers. So really, this is a teacher nonprofit organization. They're there for the kid or for the teachers, not the kids. TFA in the hearing said it serves about 130,000 students in Illinois. They say they serve the students, but does this money actually go to the classroom? They say that they try to recruit high-impact teachers. It's really just going to prop up an entire ecosystem, this nonprofit organization. And no matter how much money you spend on it, it seems like the kids get worse and worse and worse. Okay, where's the money going? 7 out of 10 kids can't read in Illinois. The same with math. That's even worse in minority communities. And that's these minority communities or the communities that these groups are like TFA are supposed to be focused on. So where is this money going? Because clearly the results are that this isn't working, that TFA isn't working. And that's not just me. Democrats even questioned, hey, provide us the numbers. How many minority teachers do you actually have? And have you actually placed in these minority communities? How many high impact teachers have you actually placed recruiting wise? What's your numbers? What's the receipts? And does it justify giving you another $2 million? And short answer, no. None of their numbers really justify giving more money to these people. So also another part of this is really weird. They claim that they get $4 in private funding for every $1 in public funding. But then they backtracked in the hearing here and they said, oh, well, that $4 just doesn't go to TFA Illinois, but it goes to our national effort. So really, yeah, I mean, I think that this is all backed via government dollars. Good morning. Hey, this is Conservative Cat Cities 92.9. I so do appreciate you tuning in. I wanted to hit this hour. TFA, this is Teach for America. It's a nonprofit organization getting another $2 million despite low reading and math proficiencies. So Teach for America, it's kind of a waste. I'm going to be honest with you. And, it's really not just me who says that. I think even Democrats are starting to raise their eyebrows at this. They're like, okay, Teach for America, what exactly do you do to be propped up by government dollars? Are the kids reading? Are they doing math better? And the answer is no. So State Representative Blaine Wilhauer, Republicans, and TFA funding, like a lot of education funding, doesn't go to the classroom. And they kind of admit this, right? So the executive director of TFA Illinois, Greater Chicago, Northwest Indiana, her name is Anaja Roberts. She says that the goal is to put high impact teachers. So these are teachers who are equity oriented. And on their website, they say diverse and equity oriented teachers, right? They want to put them in all levels of the education system. And she said the goal is to put and to develop high impact teachers to serve in Illinois communities where they need it the most, these minority communities, right? So she says, quote, over 1,000 of our alumni are in school-based roles across the state in places like Harvey, Peoria, Round Lake, Urbana. Our alumni initiatives underscore our commitment to fostering a robust educational ecosystem. So I guess like alumni in these school districts, they become these leaders and they're supposed to have a high impact in the entire school system or ecosystem, and they're giving them the resources to help the kids. Okay, this Teach for America. But here's the thing, those places she mentioned, Peoria, 15% of kids can read at grade level. Harvey, 12% of kids can read at grade level. Round Lake, 11.8, and it's even worse for math. Okay, Urbana, 12.8% of kids can read at grade level. Statewide, the organization serves 1,000 alumni, 123 first and second year teachers. So it's not even like a whole lot of people they're helping here, teachers that they're helping. I mean, comparatively, they've got 1,000 alumni, but they're only helping like 123 first and second year teachers. So they're supposed to get another $2 million of your taxpayer money. And really their goal is on recruiting. They want to recruit diverse teachers and install them in school districts around the state. That's what Teach for America, that's what their goal is. But they don't even do a good job at that, you see, because the recruiting isn't going so well, because the numbers tell us that there's not a whole lot of diverse teachers in these school districts. So Will Howard said there's a lot of questions, too, when it comes to their funding. Okay, so TFA kind of lied. They claimed in the hearing, this is a House committee hearing, and Democrats even questioned, hey, where is your private, you've got private funding and you've got public funding. Comparatively, how much public funding are you getting in comparison to your private funding? Are we propping up your entire organization here in Illinois to exist? So the organization receives about $9 to $10 million overall to operate its program in Illinois. Now, we don't know how much of the $9 to $10 million they're actually using in Illinois. But that's what they say they're slated to use in this program, or for this program in Illinois. But they say they get $4 of private funding for every $1 public funding. But then they backtracked and they said, hey, well, the $4 it actually goes to the national organization, the Teach for America national organization. So the private funding, we're not exactly sure how much of that goes to Teach for America Illinois, specifically the Illinois organization. So, man, I don't understand. We're putting $2 million into Teach for America with public dollars. This is a national organization, and they say they get $4 back for every dollar spent. Is the state of Illinois propping up bureaucratic spending for all of these states around us? Right. So, I mean, are they, where is this money going? How are they funneling these monies into these different programs? It just seems very odd to me. But the Illinois State Board of Education and Governor J.B. Pritzker pushed for this group to get another $2 million of taxpayer money. They got $2 million last year, and I'm just not seeing the results. That's the thing, is the receipts show us that the kids aren't doing any better with programs like this, and they're supposed to be serving minority communities. But I just read off all kinds of grade level, like all these percentages where these kids can't do math or they can't read. All right, I want to take a minute here to talk about Kamala Harris. Some news, Obama, he was able to probably get Kamala Harris to agree to be his puppet, and he came out and endorsed her. What was really weird was the manufactured phone call. And I'm not going to have time to play it here, but basically Kamala Harris picks up the phone and Michelle and Barack are on the phone and they say, hey, we're going to give you our full support. We're just so proud of you. This is a critical moment for our country. And it's just a manufactured phone call. And I don't know what it is with Kamala Harris and these fake phone calls. Like, they're really cringy. And she manufactures these like, really, it's just a game. It's theatrics where they make a big show out of it, and it's very inauthentic. So there was another inauthentic manufactured scene where she goes into this record store and she buys some records. And there's like somebody there with a video camera, and they say, Kamala, what'd you buy? And she rambles off a few of these records. And, you know, there was like a Louis Armstrong one, a few like classic, a lot of these Black American families already have these types of records. And so having to just have purchased them now, it says a lot. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it to where Kamala Harris looks Black. And here's why they're doing it. It's because she's actually not Black. Okay. She's not African American. Her mother is East Indian, and her father is Bahamian. She's actually, by her father's own admission, one of the descendants of a Hamilton Brown, of one Hamilton Brown. Hamilton Brown was the largest slave, one of the largest slave owners and traders in Bahamian history. She's not African American, folks. She started her political career, that's a fact, of having an affair with a married man. She imprisoned 2,000 Blacks for simple marijuana possession while she served as the California AG. These are facts, and I just wanted you to know that, because you're going to hear a lot of lies about Kamala Harris and how she's so great. You guys have a blessed day. Bye-bye. Love you. See you later. All right, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. I so do appreciate it. Go ahead, smash that like button, and I appreciate you tuning in. We will have some more daily content for you. Find the channel, share it out with your friends, and I appreciate talking about these issues. And yes, I don't know if I'm going to go to the Fairbury races this weekend, but I do plan on being there. I'm hoping for the weekend of the fair, and I might be doing a show live from there. So I hope to see y'all in Fairbury sometime soon. John, it's always a pleasure seeing you on the stream. You have a great rest